Does your demo need a refresh? That's what we're going to talk about today. Welcome to the VoiceOver Huddle on the VoiceOver Blueprint YouTube channel. And my name is Mike Hathcote, and we are here to help you grow your voiceover business. That's what we do here every single weekday morning. And today we're going to talk about demos. But first, check out the new book, The VoiceOver Blueprint, $9.95 digital download, and the audiobook version, as well as 4 free gifts. That's in the link below. And don't forget to check in on the live chat so we can do some shout outs here shortly. And also don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell and all that good stuff so you can get this stuff really quick. Okay. You've probably heard me talk about how your demo is the number one thing that you have to use to market your business. Between your demo and your website, that is kind of the 1-2 punch when it comes to doing your outreach. As I mentioned the other day, all roads lead to your website, but when they get to your website, your demos is what's going to, convince them to hire you. So your demos are everything. Now, sometimes as your skills improve, as trends change in the industry, you might need to get a new demo, right? I mean, if you do a demo early in your career when you're still kind of new and you don't know um, all the ins and outs and stuff, you don't want to let that demo be your demo forever, right? Every once in a while, you're going to need to refresh your demo, either a brand new complete demo or just pieces of it. Give you an example. I mentioned this recently, but my current commercial demo is about 4.5 years old. And I thought, well, maybe it's time for a brand new demo, complete from scratch. And so I reached out to my producer, who is J. Michael Collins, very prolific demo producer in the industry, and also a voice talent himself. And I was like, hey, here's my demo as a refresher. Let me know what you think about it. Do I need a brand new demo? And luckily, he came back and was surprised that no, I didn't need a brand new demo. There was just one spot that we needed to swap. So I recorded a new spot and swapped it out on my demo, and that was it. One spot. So we didn't have to go back to the drawing board. We just took that one spot, swapped it out, good to go. And I'll give you an idea what it is. If you ever go to my website, it's the main demo that I've got on my website, the video that pops up right there. The Home Depot spot is the new one. All the rest of them are from 2020. So sometimes like I said, you don't need to go all the way back to the drawing board. You just need a little tweak, which is nice because, you save a lot of money that way because demos ain't cheap. So there you go. Maybe all you need is just the one spot. So reach out to whoever produced your current demo from time to time, just to make sure that you know, are on top of your game, both, in what matches current trends. For an example, some of the current trends are starting to shift towards more of a, I don't want to say announcer read, but more of an authoritative read. So a lot of the uh, more casual reads, I guess, are starting to kind of fade a little bit. So if you need to take your demo and even rearrange things, that's something that's possible too. Here's another example. A build that a demo that Bill did for me way back. I was getting a lot of comments on spot number, I think it was number 3, which was a Chipotle spot. And so what I did is I just reordered the demo because if that one spot is resonating with a lot of people, then I want to put that up front. It was currently number 3, so I just went in and I put it up front and moved everything down because I want that spot to be what everybody hears first if it's what people are digging. So sometimes it's just a shuffle, right? But sometimes it's a single spot that you need to swap out. Other times, straight from scratch, starting over from scratch. The only other time that you need to do a new demo would be if you want to diversify, if you want to get into different genres like, medical or e-learning or whatever. If you're just starting out with, say, a commercial demo and you want to broaden your horizons, then you may need another demo for this genre or that genre or whatever. But just keep that in mind. Always keep an eye on your demos to make sure that they are current and not outdated. Okay, there you go. Demos. Let's see who's in today. Ding, ding, ding. There's Ron from Grand Haven, Michigan. He's first in. And Boomer McBoom from San Emilio Mountains. Nancy in Yankton, South Dakota. And Sean from Longview. Rob says, good morning, VO enthusiasts from Wadsworth, Ohio. Have it a profitable day. And there's Dennis from Grant Park, Illinois. David says, greetings from the Big Easy. There's Rich from Lincoln, Nebraska. I don't know why I just totally blank on that. Lincoln, Nebraska. Kino says, howdy hey from Rancho Cucamonga, California. Good morning or maybe afternoon, Kirk from Greenville, South Carolina. I guess it's noon there, right? It's a little after noon there because that's East Coast. So good afternoon to you. And there's Tim from Altoona, PA. And Callie from Pasco. Good morning to you. There's Jay from Covington, Georgia. And Nicole from Ottawa, Ontario. There's Steven says, good early afternoon from Atlanta. And boom, it jumped on me again. Gosh, this thing. There's Michael from Peoria, Illinois. And Wayne from Port Orchard. Have you ever heard of a Voice of God demo? Yes, I have. A Voice of God demo or VOG demo is basically uh, kind of like a live announcer. So if you ever go to an event, maybe a sporting event or an event where you're, maybe a theater event or something like that, where you hear a voice coming from you don't know where, it's just played over the intercom or the loudspeaker, no flash photography in tonight's performance, that kind of thing. That's Voice of God. It's basically wherever whenever you can't hear or you can't see or you don't know where the announcer is coming from. So that's Voice of God. Alex says, good morning from Utah. And Clint from Chandler checking in. Thirsty Thursday, drinking up all the knowledge Mike is pouring out. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. Did I say Becky from Michigan? It's in there 3 times, so I'm not sure if your computer kind of popped on you there. But hello, Becky from Michigan. Mike says, Rich says, Mike, should we consistently refresh our demos with actual work? Or constantly? If you've got work that you've done that is really good that you're proud of, sure. Sure. You can swap in some of the real thing for, some of the fake spots for your demo that you did originally. That's fine. Just make sure that you run it by someone who's kind of in the know, who knows if it's a good mix, if that spot or spots are a good mix with the rest of your demo. But yes, that's always a good idea. And that leads me to another point. Whenever you do a job for a client, always ask for the final project back, the final thing. Now, if it's something like an e-learning or something like that, you probably aren't going to get that back because they build that into their interface and stuff. You can't really send those to anyone. But for any other kind of project, ask for that final project back so you can keep a portfolio. Always do that. There's Tracy from Rochester, Minnesota. Ron says, if you're looking for auditioning in various niches, do you separate demos for each individual niche? Yes. So if you're looking for e-learning work, then you want to point them to your e-learning demo. If you're looking for commercial work, commercial demo, and so on. So, yeah, always kind of lead with whatever demo it is you're trying to get the work for, political or automotive or whatever your demo is or whatever the genre is you're looking for, point them to that demo. Andrew says, what would be a good example of authoritative versus conversational? Well, conversational is just like this, me and you talking. We're just chatting. We're just kind of, doing our thing. A more authoritative read is, well, best example is that Home Depot spot that I did. We swapped it out with one of my conversational reads. I had a Honda Pilot spot, I believe, and we put the Home Depot spot in the place of the Honda Pilot spot. The Honda Pilot spot was very casual. It was like, it was about, what was it? Twins, like, how did it go? Something about twins and, we need more room and we got a Honda Pilot because we needed the space and blah, blah, blah. It was very kind of casual and just like you're talking to your best friend. The authoritative read was more like, this is serious. When storm damage hits, you need to take care of business with Home Depot. It was, I can't remember how it goes, but it's very kind of, I know what I'm talking about. No nonsense. Here's the deal. So that's kind of the difference between conversational, casual, and authoritative, no nonsense. And if you want to see the difference, go check that demo out. Big Timmy here from New Oxford, PA. Good morning to you. I guess it's afternoon there, though. Alan from PA, thanks for your help last week looking at my demo. Gave me a real confidence boost. Great. Glad I did. Glad I was able to help there, Alan. There's Jason from Kearney, Nebraska, and Terry from Fallston, Maryland. There's Theo from the second floor office I'm sorry, second floor office at home in lovely Palos Hills, Illinois. There's JJ from Minnesota. Says she misses the palm trees, I guess, when she was on vacation. Lots of palm trees down in, where is it, Miami, I believe. And by the way, I hope your daughter has sailed through that surgery and is doing well. There's David from Hamilton, Ontario. Paul says, don't see Voice of God in VO much anymore. It's here and there. There are still plenty of live events and stuff like that where they use Voice of God, award ceremonies and, anything like that where they're announcing from somewhere, that's Voice of God. I actually had, for those of you of a certain age, you might have heard of the amazing Kreskin, who was the top mentalist in his time. He used to be on the Tonight Show all the time and all the shows, and one of these guys that would do card tricks and mental, guessing of things and whatever. Anyway, one of my very earliest Voice of God jobs was for him, and he was going out on tour and doing a thing. And so my job was to announce things like, first of all, introduce him, ladies and gentlemen, the amazing Crest, that kind of thing. But also the whole flash photography, silence your cell phones, blah, 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 blah. That kind of introduction before the show starts. So I thought that was pretty cool because I'm just barely old enough to know who he is. Anybody pretty much younger than me probably doesn't know who Kreskin is. But your parents probably do. There's Jim from Memphis, and Charlie says, good morning, greetings from Wisconsin. Jim says, I do salvage missions. I do search and salvage missions among my earlier work to weed out the problem stuff and clean up what's unusable with some work. I don't know what that really means, but thank you, Jim. Jim also says, show me your shirt. Well, there you see it. Keep ruling because you rule. I don't care who you are. You rule. So you should keep ruling. There's Corey from Whitehall, Wisconsin. Jason says, not sure why, but I get a lot of voice of God voiceovers. Yeah. I mean, people with a certain tone of voice typically get most of that work because you do kind of have that, you have to have that, kind of booming, authoritative, or at least can deliver that. You don't have to sound like that all the time, but it is more of that authoritative kind of booming, voice. So if you have kind of a higher, millennial kind of sounding voice, probably not. So there is definitely a certain voice type that gets the voice of God work. Dennis says, introductions and announcements, that kind of work is definitely fun. Yeah, it really is, especially for those of us who do have that same type of voice and, maybe come from radio or something like that where you had to be very polished sounding because it's very, you don't want to be like, hey, could you guys please silence your cell phones before we start the show? That won't work, right? It's got to be like, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, that kind of thing. JJ says, yes, the surgery went very successful. And the doctor in Miami and his staff was incredible. My daughter had a broken nose with complications. Truly impressive team. Awesome. Well, I'm glad she's through it and on the other side. Paul says, encouraging to me. I have one of those. I guess you mean one of those voices. Yeah, so it might not be a bad idea to put together a demo or at least have one of those style reads on your existing demo. If you're wanting to go after those voice of God type reads, I see a lot of those on the pay to plays. People want that, announcer sound for an event that they're having or whatever. And so that does happen. Jim says, I go through work that hasn't gotten me work and make it the best it can be. Some needs re-recording, some just needs to be edited more and make it usable. Okay. Just be sure you don't, you know, it's okay to recycle stuff, but just make sure that your demo is not just a bunch of recycled old reads. Make sure that you are deliberate with what you put together and work with someone who knows what they're doing to make sure it is that way. Because remember, you only get one chance to make that first impression. It's got to be the best it can be. All right, all right. Any other quick comments before we dive out of here? Wayne says, when I have attended functions in stadiums, I notice there's a certain pacing required because there is an echo in the building. Speaking too quickly gets muddled in the building reverb. That's a very good point. Very good point. Sporting arenas and stuff like that, when it's a huge space, definitely. Smaller spaces like theaters, if you go to, stand-up comedy or plays or stuff like that, it's a little bit different. But yeah, you're right. Bigger the venue, the more reverb. So you have to kind of let the echo dissipate before you start the next line or whatever. So yeah, absolutely. Good point. All right, guys, I am going to peace out of here. So I will say farewell and I'll see you tomorrow, which is Q&A Friday. So bring your questions and make sure that you bring them in and chime in on the chat, and I'll be happy to answer those for Q&A Friday. And remember, keep ruling. See ya.